One of the biggest challenges in business is that it just never seems like enough people know about you. And if you listen to someone like Alex Hormozi, who's a massive advocate for giving upfront value, building strong relationships with your clients and your followers, and for having clear systems for all of your processes, you'll see just how important it can be if you have a good referral system in place. Now, what I'm going to be showing you guys in this video is an AI automation that I built based off of what I was able to gather from Alex Hormozi's wisdom on referrals, along with a few points from his book $100 Million Leads that relate to this. Now, even though this is just a prototype here, what I hope to illustrate to you guys today is how you can take a handful of concepts and transform them into something that's completely automated and workable with AI. So before we get into this system, I just wanted to touch on a few of Alex Hormozi's points when it comes to referrals. As I was building this system, I kept 4 of Hormozi's main points in mind. The first is intentionality, the second is specific requests, the third is incentives, and the fourth is compounding effect. So to start off, referrals don't just happen by accident. They're a product of having a system that makes things easy for people to refer others to your business. And ultimately, people aren't going to want to work with you if you don't have a system that's easy for them to use and you don't really give them a reason to give you a referral in the first place. Good referrals are also built off of you giving the proper requests. So when you're asking for referrals, you need to be intentional and specific. So if you were to simply ask for referrals, it would be far less effective than if you were to actually put a timeline and numbers to it. So if you were to ask for 3 referrals within the next 3 months, that would be a much more specific time frame for them to be able to stick to, and therefore it will be more likely for them to follow through with it. And so next up we have incentives. This is actually one of the biggest levers in this system that actually makes it work the way it does. So I've set this system up to be based off of a reward system that rewards clients for every referral that they give. You could choose to reward your clients in any way that you can or any way that's practical for you. For this example, I'm just going to be using gift cards. And finally, we have the compounding effect, which is something that Hormozi talks about all the time, not just when it comes to referrals, but really anything in business that takes place over a long period of time. So in this example, if you have one customer and they tell 3 people, and each of those 3 people tells 3 people, you eventually have an exponential effect that gives you a steady stream of referrals simply through word of mouth. And all of this functions aside from your content and from your paid ads and any other outreach strategy that you may have going on. And each of these 4 points contributes to the idea that referrals are one of the most profitable and easy ways to scale your business when it comes down to things. If you allow your customers to advertise to you instead of you having to go out and reach out to them, it's going to save you a ton of resources and stress. It's going to build your reputation into someone who can actually be trusted to follow through with what they say. And one thing that Alex Hormozi ties together with all of this is that you need to have some sort of system to track your results and to make sure that all of this stays streamlined and organized. And this AI automation that I'm about to show you guys does exactly that. So if you're able to take all of these principles and wrap them up into this nice little automation, and I'm able to show this to you guys so that you can get some value out of this and see how some of these ideas can be implemented in real life, then this video will have accomplished its goal. So with all of that said, let's jump straight into this automation and I'll show you guys exactly how this works. So before I get into the build and show you guys how this works behind the scenes, I wanted to give you this little flowchart demo so you can understand how this works a little better. So the entire system runs via SMS. So if you wanted to trigger this, all you would have to do is pull out your phone and send a text message to this AI agent, and it'll figure out what you want to do and it'll execute that action for you. So in this case right here, with this SMS trigger, I just sent out this simple message, which was, "Hi Lily, I just finished up the contract with Chase Nelson this morning. Could you send him a kind message along with our referral offer?" So what's going on here is I was able to write out a message in natural language, send it from my iPhone just like I would send any other text message, and that alone would trigger the entire automation to run. And depending how complex you have the automation going on behind the scenes, you can customize this to be able to do any number of actions for you. But for this specific example, I'm going to show you how this can apply to a referral context. So as soon as the AI receives your message, it'll process the entire request and go through the automation. And once it's finished, it'll actually send you a little confirmation message that summarizes what it did, and it also confirms that it did in fact send the message through. And this second message is an example of some of the other functionalities that you could bake into this. But for the time being, the referrals are the main subject of this video. So on the client end of this, they're actually going to receive a customized message here that's personalized according to data that was extracted from your CRM. So if I was the client, or Chase in this case, I would receive a message that looks something like this. "Hi Chase, this is Lily reaching out on behalf of John. I just wanted to congratulate you and Jessica on your new purchase in West Hills, and hope you enjoy your honeymoon next month. As a parting gift, we'd like to offer some exclusive rewards if you'd like to share some referrals. Check it out here." And below that, it just inserts the link to your referral form, which I'm about to show you in a minute here. And in addition to an SMS message, the system will also send a personalized email to the client based off of that same information in your CRM. And if you want to pause the video to read through this email, you can do so. But ultimately, it delivers the same information. It just dives a little deeper into the personalization to make things feel a little bit more authentic. And of course, it also delivers the referral link, which sends sends the client directly to our form. So in this breakdown, you could really look at this system as a 3-step referral process where the AI is triggered with an SMS message, which then follows up with an SMS and an email to your client. And keep in mind that all of this happens within a matter of seconds to minutes. So there's no need to actually go into your CRM to search up the client, go through their personal notes section, and actually draft an SMS and an email to send out to them. As you look over the system, you're able to see just how it hits all 4 of those boxes according to Hormozi's principles I was talking about earlier. It creates an intentional system that asks for referrals, it frames it in terms of a specific request, it offers a clear incentive, and it also facilitates a compounding effect. With all of that said, let's dive into how this build works behind the scenes. Alright, so here's the main automation that we're going to be using to run this AI system. And there are quite a few things going on here, so let me break it down for you. So as you saw before, this entire automation is triggered by a text message. In this case, it's going to be handled by Twilio. So what this is going to do is it's going to watch for messages in your Twilio account, and whenever you receive one, it's going to trigger this automation and send that data over to ChatGPT. What ChatGPT is essentially going to do is it's going to extract the keywords and phrases out of that text message, and it's going to figure out what it is that you're actually asking for with this text message. And then it's going to get passed off onto this router, which is going to be filtered according to those keywords and phrases. Now, even though there are only 2 pathways here in this automation, you could multiply this by however many tasks that you really want to get done. So you could have a different pathway for each individual task that you want this automation to cover, and all of them would be available via this same SMS trigger. So I just have 2 pathways set up here, and this top one is the one that you want to focus on because this is going to be our referral pathway. This bottom one is just an example I included just to show you how much capability you can work into this system. So for example, if you wanted to draft a document, the keyword would be extracted here and it would be passed along this second workflow here. But back to our original automation here, this is going to essentially work by getting your client record from Airtable, which is going to correspond to the name that you included in your original text message. Then the system is going to connect to a separate Airtable database which contains your referral link. And this is basically just to grab your link so that it can store it as a variable and attach it on the message later on down the workflow. After that, this ChatGPT module is going to extract the personalization data from any client notes that you have in your database. In other words, if you had this client here where you have a first name, last name, email, phone number, and any other relevant information, this module is essentially going to scrape this personal notes section right here, which contains any kind of information that can be built off of via personalization for your client. After all of that information has been gathered, Claude is going to be the one to generate that message because I tend to prefer its creativity and the writing style it executes. And after that, ChatGPT will generate you a confirmation message. Both the message that Claude generated for your client and the one that GPT right here generated for you will be filtered through this router. This will be the confirmation that gets sent back to you to let you know that the job is complete. This one on the lower path will be the message that your client gets with the referral link and the personalized message. And finally, it will also send the personalized email that was generated alongside the SMS message in this Claude module here. So lastly, let's take a look at the actual referral form that I included here. Now I just built this out really quickly in Airtable, but you could really use any type of form collection service that you want. So when you deliver a form like this, you want to make sure that you include a little bit of an explanation here so that your client can understand exactly why it is that they arrived at this form and what they can expect here. So I have a couple things going on here with the way that I've presented this form. So in this little intro that you see here, I have created both exclusivity and the incentive that I had mentioned earlier from those Hormozi principles. So I simply introduced this by saying, to show how much we appreciated working with you, we deliver this exclusive offer just to our favorite clients. You'll earn a $50 gift card for every referral you share. And although that might seem like a lot to you up front, if you were to break down your cost to acquire for every customer, that $50 per referral would actually be a cheap deal for a lot of people, depending on what industry you're in, of course. So be sure to actually go through and determine what's practical for you to offer here, and also be sure to check out Hormozi's videos when he talks about cost to acquire and how he lays out his process for creating incentives. And aside from that, I've just included basic information here. So I wanted to get the client's full name just so we can organize our responses later on. I have a space to include the names of any referrals, and again list up to 3 names, which goes back to the specifics of Hormozi's principles from earlier in the video. I've also included fields for their email addresses and phone numbers. And if you want to take this a step further, you could also include something like a testimonial if you want to offer your client an extra bonus in exchange for that. So if you want to collect referrals, where you ask your client what their biggest pain point was before doing business with you, and then how your service was actually able to accomplish and resolve that pain point for them, this would be an excellent way to do that, along with a nice little incentive along the way. And of course, you may or may not want to use the same approach when it comes to your business, but this was all just to illustrate the fact that using referrals and backing them by exclusivity and incentives is just a fantastic way so that you're able to kind of scale via word of mouth as opposed to solely relying on content or paid ads. So ultimately, this is a pretty good case study of what can be possible when you combine ideas from someone like Alex Hormozi, who's an expert when it comes to high-level business processes, with some new emerging tech ideas like AI automation. And I enjoyed putting this together to kind of show you guys how these two areas can intersect and how you guys can actually leverage a system like this to set up a nice referral system for your business while remaining easily accessible via SMS and also being highly customizable when it comes to actually designing the automation. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you have any questions or comments about this one, be sure to leave them down in the comments section. And thank you guys for watching. I'll catch you all in the next one.